Om Yogakundalyupanishad. Yogakundalyupanishad. This Upanishad belongs to the Krishna Yajurveda. Has 3 chapters. And the first chapter contains 87 mantras. The second chapter contains 49 mantras. And the last and the third one contains 35 mantras. In all, this Yogakundalyupanishad Upanishad has 171 mantras. The Upanishad opens beautifully. The first chapter, Vayurjayoho, means the importance of gaining mastery over the pranayama. It begins with that. And it says beautifully, the cause for the mind to operate means the cause for the mind to operate means manaschanchalam. The cause for chitta vritti. Why there is a chitta vritti? Why there is a thought in the mind? The reason for the thought in the mind. In fact, the reason for the mind itself. The reason for the activity of the mind. The cause for the chitta vritti. Beautifully, the Upanishad puts it, hetu dvayam. There are 2 hetus, 2 reasons, 2 causes. One is chittasya vasana cha samiranaha tayor vinashtaha eka simtvadvapi vinashyatihi. Hetu dvayam hi chittasya vasana cha samiranaha. Vasanas, tendencies, what we commonly call it as the samskaras, the deep-rooted vasanas, samskaras, in the deep imbibed, deeply embedded characters. That is the reason. And second one is the flow of prana, the inhalation and exhalation. And by controlling any of one, the other one is controlled, and by that mind is controlled. You see, there is a triangle here. The mind, the breathing, and the vasanas. The activity in the mind is because of the movement of the prana or because of the vasanas. So by controlling the vasanas, the breathing comes under control. By controlling the breathing, the vasanas come under the control. By controlling any one, the other 2 are controlled. What a beautifully the practice is given. And for the control of the prana, the vayu, is the basic one. Because that is the easier one. That is how the Upanishad puts it. Tayor adau samirasya jayam kuryantaraha sada. Samirasya jayam kuryan naraha sada. It is easier for a nara to control the breathing easily. So the practice is emphasized on that. And how to gain mastery, regulate, harness and harmonize, synchronize, slow down the speed of flow of breathing. The Upanishad gives 3 things. One is mitaharaha, asanam, and shakti chalanam. Tritiyakam. Mitaharascha asanam cha shakti chalanam tritiyakaha. 3 methods have been given. Mitaharaha. Then what is mitaharaha means? The mita itself means a measurement. Means measured eating food. Intake of food in a measured way. And what is the measured way? It gives beautifully. Etesham lakshanam vakshe shru gotama sadaram bhujyate shiva samprityau mitaharaha savuchyate. That is, partaking of nourishing sweet food, good food, enjoyable food, 1/4 of it, and half is left for the vayu and water, and the food is offered to the god. This is exactly what the Hata Pradipika also explains in Mitahara. Then Asanaha. So Mitahara, like this food should be eaten. Our regular daily intake of food should be like this. It is not time whenever we eat we should take like this. The entire intake of the food should be like that. Whether it is in a day, as per our requirement and necessity, how much food we should take, this specifies. Then the asanam. Practice of asana, the Upanishad emphasizes and mentions only the Padmasana. Asanam vividham proktam padmam vajrasanam tatha. Padmasana and vajrasana. 2 asanas have been mentioned. Urvosapari चेद्धत्ते उभे पादतले यथा पद्मासनं भेवेद एतत् सर्वपाप प्रणाशनम. Both feet should be put on the other foot thigh, means right foot on left thigh, left foot on right thigh. It doesn't specify which foot should be on the other thigh. It can be right on the left and the left on the right, or left on the right and right on the left. It differs. Similarly, Vajrasana. Vamankagrimulam kandhataha anyam tadupari kshipate. Samigriya vishrahaskayo Vajrasanam iti ritam. Vajrasana means place the left heel under the buttock, left buttock, and the right heel over it. It gets beautifully. The Vajrasana described in the Yogakundalyupanishad is left foot placed under the navel of the kanda, and the right heel is placed above that. It is something like crossing the right heel, crossing the right ankle on the left ankle and sitting on it. And neck should be straight. This is Vajrasana position explained in the Yogakundalyupanishad. Then the Upanishad talks about the Shakti Chalana practice, and it gives a beautiful name. Saraswati Chalanam is the explanation is given. What is Shakti Chalana? The rousing of the Saraswati Shakti in the Saraswati Nadi by inhalations and exhalations and the Kumbhaka practices. Then various types of practices of pranayama has been explained in the Yogakundalyupanishad. Beautiful it is. It says pranayama bhedaha, varieties of the pranayamas. It talks about prana rodhaka madhyedunam pravakshami samasataha. Then it gives the names of the various pranayamas. Suryaha, Ujjayi, Shitalicha, Bhastricha eva Chaturdhaka, Bhedaireva samam kumbheya syat sahita kumbhakaha. Sahita kumbhakaha means the Upanishad explains the practice of Surya kumbhaka, Ujjayi kumbhaka, Shitali kumbhaka, Bhastri kumbhaka or Bhastrika are to be practiced with Sahita kumbhaka, with Sahita kumbhaka, with holding the breath inside. And that is how the Sahita kumbhaka has 2 meanings, 2 interpretations. It can be Sahita kumbhaka means it can be Antara kumbhaka, it can be Bahya kumbhaka. After inhalation, holding the breath. After exhalation, holding the breath. But holding the breath is Sahita kumbhaka. And the meaning Sahita also is important. It is to be useful. and proportionate. Hita means practicing of kumbhaka should not be troublesome. It should do good. So how much should be the holding time of the kumbhaka? It should do good. It should not do harm. And that how much by doing, how much it will do good and useful. That is a description, very important guidance which is to be known. So Sahita is generally interpreted as along with kumbhaka or after inhalation. That meaning stands, but the more inner and more deeper meaning is the practice of kumbhaka should be useful and it should do good. There is another explanation also. Doing kumbhaka, practicing kumbhaka will do good. Sahita. So various dimensions are to be taken while we practice the pranayama. So the pranayama is explained. The Surya Kumbhaka, it doesn't say Surya Bheda Pranayama or Surya Anuloma Viloma Pranayama. It doesn't talk. It said Surya Kumbhaka. And Surya Kumbhaka means Dakshinadya Samakrishya Bahishtham Pavanam Shanaihi Yadheshtam Purayed Vayuhu Rechayed Idaya Tataha Dakshinadya Samakrishya Bahishtham Pavanam Shanaihi. The external air has to be inhaled through the right nostril. The name given is Dakshina Nadi. And Yadheshtham Purayet Vayuhu Rechayet Idaya. Through Ida, it should be how beautifully the Upanishad, to avoid confusion of nomenclature. It uses different names. For the right, it uses Dakshina instead of using the word Pingala. For the left, it uses the name Ida instead of using the word Vama. This is only because of enhancing or specifying, explicit specification it is. And how much the air should be inhaled, one should feel the breath of inhalation at the cranium, kapalaha it calls it, and inhaling like that. Then exhale it through the left nostril. And after exhaling through the left nostril, again inhale through the right nostril. So inhaling with the right nostril and exhaling with the left nostril, and again inhaling with the right nostril and exhaling with the left nostril, and always the length of the breath is to be felt at the cranium, at the kapalaha. This is the Surya Kumbhaka practice. Then the Upanishad explains the Ujjayi Kumbhaka, how Ujjayi should be practiced. Ujjayi should be practiced, how it is to be practiced. Beautifully it explains the Mukham Samyamya Nadibhyam Pavanam Shanaihi Yatha Lagati Kanthanu Kanthattu Hridayavadi Saswanam Purvavat Kumbhayet Pranam Rechayet Idaya Tataha Shirshodita Nalaharam Gala Shaleshmaharam Param Sarva Roga Haram Punyam Deha Nalava Vardhanam Nadi Jalodaram Dhatu Gata Dosha Vinashanam. With the mouth well under control, slowly drawing the air through both the nostrils. Inhalation with right nostril and the left nostril. Inhalation with both the nostrils, Ida and the Pingala Nadi. Mukham Samyamya Nadibhyamakrishya Pavanam Shanaihi. Nadibhyam, both, Purakaha and Rechakaha. And that Purakaha is to be with the both nostrils, and Rechakaha is to be with the left nostril. And this is how the Ujjayi Pranayama is explained. Very simple. Just drop the neck, inhale with both the nostrils, and exhale only with the left nostril. And this practice gives tremendous benefits. That is how the Upanishad puts it. And enhances the resistance power against the diseases. And this is how Ujjayi is to be practiced. Ujjayi Pranayama it is. Then the Upanishad gives the Shitali Kumbhaka. Shitali Kumbhaka is Shanaistu Ghrana Randhrabhyam Rechayed Anilam Sudhihi Jivhaya Vayuhu Apakrishya Jivhaya Vayuhu Akrishya. Inhale the air, draw the air, take the air through the tongue, jivha, and exhale with both the nostrils. Inhalation through the tongue, exhalation with both nostrils. This is the Shitali Kumbhaka, not Shitali Pranayama, Shitali Kumbhaka. We should always remember, Pranayama is a method to experience the Kumbhaka. Pranayama is the tool for the experience of Kumbhaka. Pranayama is the technique and the method and the tool to achieve the Kumbhaka. So Shitali Kumbhaka is the Kumbhaka which is achieved by the practice of inhalation and exhalation, the way it is explained in Shitali Kumbhaka practice, that is, inhaling through the tongue, through the jivha, and exhaling through both the nostrils. This is the Shitali Kumbhaka. Then the Bhastrika Kumbhaka he is explained beautifully. One has to sit in the Padmasana and explain the nostrils, explain the expel the vital air, the prana, through the nostrils, and controlling the effort at the mouth level, and in such a way that it occupies with a sound the cranium from the throat. You should fill in a little air up, then exhale again and again. A continuous inhalations and exhalations with a thoracic activity, hridayaha it is, at the chest level, and avoiding the movements of the body. Then the air will be moving throughout the whole body, and this wakes up the Kundalini. This is how the Yogakundalyupanishad explains the Bhastrika Pranayama. So continuous inhalations and exhalations, sitting in Padmasana, body kept straight and balanced, aligned properly, a properly aligned and balanced in the sitting posture of the Padmasana, inhalations and exhalations, which are very active, and feeling it at the Hridaya level. And that is how the Bhastrika Kumbhaka is to be practiced. Then the Yogakundalyupanishad Upanishad explains the standard Bandhatrayas, the Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, and the Jalandhara Bandha. Mula Bandha is explained, as all of us are aware, it is a constriction of the anal sphincters, where the apana goes out. This is called the Mula Bandha. Constriction of the sphincters where apana gets released. That is the Mula Bandha. Then the practice of Uddiyana Bandha. Uddiyana Bandha is the practice exclusively explained by the Yogakundalyupanishad that is to be practiced in the Paschimottanasana. It specifies which asana it should be practiced. It puts it beautifully. Gulfa desha samipecha kandam tatra prapidayet paschimam tana mudare dhared hridaye gale shanai yada pranastu sandhihi nigacchati tunda dosham vinirdhuya kartavyam satatam shanaihi. So one should practice the Uddiyana Bandha in Paschimatana is very useful. But the Upanishad also specifies and gives it that it can be done in the Vajrasana. Tasmad Uddiyanakhayam Yogibhi Samudahritaha Sati Vajrasane Padau Karabhyam Dharayet Dridham. In sitting in Vajrasana, firmly holding with 2 hands, 2 feet, means hold the feet in Vajrasana and then practice the Uddiyana Bandha. Then the Paschimottanasana. So the interpretation, normal understanding of the Uddiyana Bandha is practice of Uddiyana Bandha in Vajrasana and practice of Uddiyana Bandha in Paschimottanasana. 2 ways, 2 methods of practicing the Uddiyana Bandha. There is also an understanding saying that the Uddiyana Bandha is to be practiced in Paschimottanasana after holding the ankles with the palms. Then the Upanishad describes about the Jalandhara Bandha, locking the throat by pressing the chin against the chest, at the Kantha Kupa, at the throat, and then holding the breath. And the Upanishad also gives it. This, when constriction of the throat is made, and the importance of the rise of the energy within moves into the Brahmanadihi. That is how it beautifully explains. Madhye Paschimataanena Syat Prano Brahmanadigaha. The prana rises from the center and moves upwards by the practice of Jalandhara Bandha it is. And this is an important dimension. Then the Upanishad talks about Abhyasaha, Kumbhakaha, Sankhya Niyamaha. The practice of Upanishad, the practice of Kumbhaka, Sankhya is given. Prathame Divase Karyam Kumbhakanam Chatushtayam Pratyeka Dasankhyakam Dvitiye Panchavistataha Vimshatyalam Tritiyam Hi Pancha Vridhayaha Dine Dine Kartavyam Kumbhako Nityam Bandhatraya Samavitaha. The Upanishad, the Yogakundalyupanishad Upanishad specifies the time of holding the breath or the number of times the kumbhakas are to be practiced. We should remember very beautifully the Upanishad gives the practice of the kumbhakas explained above, that is the Surya Kumbhaka, Shitali Kumbhaka, Bhastrika Kumbhaka are to be practiced with a specific timing. The Upanishad specifies these 4 Kumbhakas, the Shitali, Ujjayi, Bhastrika and Surya Kumbhaka. In all these 4, these 4 Kumbhakas, Surya Kumbhaka, Ujjayi Kumbhaka, Shitali Kumbhaka then Bhastrika Kumbhaka are to be practiced every day. First day 10 times each one, means 10 times Surya Kumbhaka, 10 times Ujjayi Kumbhaka, 10 times Shitali Kumbhaka, 10 times Bhastrika Kumbhaka. Next day, the second day, 5 times should be added, means 15, 15, 15 and 15. Third day, 5 more to be added, 20, 20, 20. Like that, every day, progressively add 5 rounds each one. A very important practice. All the 4 are to be practiced, and in each one the number of rounds has to be enhanced 5 times. What an amount of practice the Yogakundalyupanishad specified, instructs a person in the practice of the pranayama or in the kumbhaka. Many people interpret it that it is not all the 4 are to be practiced 5 times, 5 rounds of addition every day. Each practice alone, 5 rounds is sufficient. But Upanishad is very clear. It mentions very clearly that it is to be all the 4. All the 4 are to be Purvoktena Kramenaiva. Kramenaiva. Samyagat Sanamastitaha. Kramenaiva. In the serial order it is. So that is how the Yogakundalyupanishad specifies the number of rounds of these 4 kumbhakas are to be practiced. The Shitali, Ujjayi, Bhastrika and the Surya Bheda, Surya Kumbhaka. Then the Upanishad explains the various dimensions of the Khechari Mudra. Entire second chapter is full of Khechari Mudra. The 49 mantras talks only about the Khechari practice. Entire second chapter of the Yogakundalyupanishad is completely dedicated to the Khechari practice. The entire in detail with full explanations. There is no other yoga text or yoga shastra which gives complete in detail explanation of the Khechari Vidya as given in the second chapter of the Yogakundalyupanishad. 49 mantras. It is a beauty to go through and study the entire practice given in the second chapter of the Yogakundalyupanishad. Then the Tritiya Adhyaya, the third chapter, is called as the Melana Mantra. It is very beautifully the Upanishad explains Melana Mantra. How do we conjoin? How do we incorporate the practices? The difference in seeing. How do we see? When we are seeing, when we are perceiving. And this is Melana Mantra. It is called beautifully, the Upanishad says, Amavasya, Paurnami and Pratipada. The first one after the Amavasya. It says that closing the eyes is Amavasya, darkness. Closing the eyes little bit, about to close or about to open. This is Pratipada, first one. Generally, Pratipada is understood as the first day of the after Amavasya, but that first day means a little opening. So that little opening after Amavasya and a little opening left off before the Amavasya. That is the Upanishad beautifully describes that one. That is the Pratipada is the eyes, half closed eyes, are just about to close, are just about to open. That is the Pratipada it is. Paurnami is the eyes fully opened. And this Amavasyaha, Pratipadaha and Paurnami has also been given, explained imaginarily, symbolically by the Upanishad. Amavasyaha, eyes are shut, means the entire person, the human nature, entire human character is shut off from the external world. It is cut off. And the Pratipada is slightly open, just slightly open. And slightly open to see, or just about to close, only little bit open, about to be closed. This is the Pratipada to the world. And the Paurnami, the eyes are fully open and the person is completely aware of the external. This also the Upanishad explains. The Paurnami as the Jagrada Avastaha, Pratipada as the Sapna Avastaha, and Amavasyaha is the Sushumti Avastaha. It is. That is how the Upanishad brilliantly gives a nice imagery for the meditation and explains at the end of the closing of the Upanishad, it gives it is like the light covered with the pot with holes, a pot with holes. There is a light placed inside a pot with holes. We can just imagine a lamp is there, a burning lamp, and that burning lamp is covered with a pot having holes. From every hole of the pot, the light is illuminated. The light comes out. Every ray, every light which is coming out of the hole of the pot seems to be different. As we see, different lights are coming from the holes of the pot, but all the source of these different lights seemingly coming out of the different holes of the pot, the source is one and the same. The Upanishad gives beautifully. The entire body and its activities are like the one only, the illuminating Atman within. Once the pot is broken or removed, the light remains as it is. And once the light is removed, the pot is there without light. A beautiful explanation and imagery is given. And for the light to manifest itself, the pot has to be broken. This is another important dimension of the Yoga Kundali Upanishad. How the importance of the body and the Atman within inside. That is why the Upanishad explains Jivan Muktihi and Videha Muktihi. It gives it beautifully. What is Jivan Mukti and what is Videha Mukti? Dhyayannaste munishchevama Suptera mrutestuyaha Jivan muktaha sa vigneyaha sa dhanyaha katakrityavan. This is Jivan Muktihi and Videha Muktihi, and that is how the importance is given. Jivan Mukta Padam Tyaktva Swadehe Kalasakrite Vishatyadeha Muktam Pavanosya Spandati Iva. And that is how the importance of Jivan Muktihi and Videha Muktihi has been described at the end of the Yoga Kundali Upanishad, belonging to the Krishna Yajurveda, having 3 chapters and 171 brilliant masterly mantras explaining the various types of pranayamas, kumbhakas, mitaharaha, bandhas. The Upanishad also talks about the importance of practicing the pratyahara and also the various dimensions. Let us conclude here. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.